Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 1962 Lincoln Continental. This is part of the fourth generation of the Continental, which lasted between 1961 and 1969. It was significantly shorter than its predecessor by a good 15 inches, which is despite this weighing about the same as that car. And it comes with a 3-speed turbo drive automatic gearbox. It's rear-wheel drive, front-engined. It's got the only engine that was currently available with this car at the time. And yeah, I am absolutely bowled over that this car is finally in another Forza game, because we've not had this in a previous Forza game since 2012, when it was included in the August Playseat car pack on Forza Motorsport 4, which was back in August 2012. So it's been more than 11 years since we've had this on a Forza game, and it's so great to have it finally back on another Forza game, as I absolutely adore this car. I think it's a wonderful piece of design. It's easily one of my favourite looking 60s vehicles, to be honest, alongside the likes of a Ferrari Daytona or a Lamborghini Miura or even a Ford Mustang. I think this just looks absolutely superb, and that's because it's a good mix of late 50s design and early 60s kind of design as well. So you've still got some, lashings of chrome, but you've also got the quad headlights. You've got a really simple grille. You've got the Lincoln badge up top there. Then you've got the rather nice discreet rear, wings that were, there were a lot. Tail fins back in the late 50s were just getting out of control, basically. They started to reduce in size quite quickly after that, though, and yeah, these are just about the right height. I love the tail lights, the rear emblem in the centre of the boot lid there. And yeah, it's just really nicely well done. Even like the wheels and the roof line, just a general side profile, and then yeah, you've got the fact that you've got the front has the same kind of tail fins at the back, but on the front in the reverse way. But it doesn't look like it's a car that is going backwards or anything like that. It's just a really nice looking car. And on top of all that, you've got rear hinged doors as well, which is the first time that was on a Lincoln since 1951. And yeah, fantastic piece of engineering in that regard, not just in terms of being able to be usable, but also in terms of sitting right with the front doors as well, because you could easily have plenty of leakage or anything like that, but they took a great deal of care to make sure that was not the case. You've also got a bench seat at the rear, which yeah, as you can see, has plenty of leg room, and there were, just to evade any concerns of safety, there was even a door ajar warning light in the front of the car for the driver, just in case the door was slightly left ajar. So yeah, to evade any safety concerns, because obviously they are known as suicide doors. So yeah, that's basically why. And yeah, it's part of the 1962 version of this car. The front grille is slightly different to the previous year, and this year was an increase in sales over that first year at 31,061, and sales would increase year on year up until 1967. So yeah, massive success, and it needed to be, quite frankly, because the previous generation of the Continental was not a hit whatsoever. So yeah, pretty much saved the brand of Lincoln and the Continental name, to be honest. And yeah, it's got plenty of room in the boot as well, as you'd expect for a car of such length. So even with the massive rear spare tyre in the rear, you've still got plenty of room for anything else that you need in there. And yeah, we've got a massive engine up front, and yeah, we've got a front hinged bonnet as well. No doubt, because it's such a long bonnet, people might well not have been able to reach the bonnet if it had lifted up the other way. And yeah, like I said, it only came with one engine initially with this year of the Continental, so it's got a 7-litre V8 engine producing 300 horsepower and 465 pounds-feet of torque. So it does need all of that power, as it weighs 4,929 pounds, which is obviously quite a lot. And yeah, but it's by no means a speed machine. It's not meant to be, as you might have gathered by the 3-speed automatic gearbox, but it still goes plenty well, and yeah, handles a lot better than you might expect for a car of such weight and size. But nonetheless, let's see how good it goes, and in terms of handling as well, and get out onto the open road. Right, so here we are at the drag strip, but like I said, it's no speed machine despite having a healthy amount of horsepower. This had more power than a an original Mustang, for instance, but this weighs about twice as much, basically. So, yeah, but let's see what it can do on this drag strip before we hit the speed camera, and then we'll get it around the track. So, yeah, this is definitely a car that's meant more for cruising and, you know, long distance travel than it is about, you know, get up and go performance, but it's by no means the slowest car that you're going to see on this game, despite having, you know, SUV levels of, you know, weight, but more like hot hatchback levels of power. So, yeah, no speed machine. We're going to struggle to, yeah, we don't even get to 100 mile an hour in that space at 97 miles an hour. But yeah, that's not the point of this car at the end of the day. The point of this car is to be luxurious, spacious, good looking, and yeah, comfortable to drive and easy to drive at the same time. And it's definitely that, with that 3-speed automatic gearbox, which, yeah, is by no means the most responsive of gearboxes by any means. And it does have quite long ratios on it, which granted does give it a decent top speed, but it hardly makes the most of the power that we've got going on either. And like the Plymouth Belvedere, this does like to lean quite a fair bit. I would say it's not quite as much of a lean mobile as the Belvedere was, though. That, despite having less weight than this, did seem to roll around a lot more, whereas this seems a little bit more controlled in terms of its body. And it might be because it's a unibody construction in terms of its chassis, but who knows. So yeah, let's get into rivals. So we're in D-Class, top end of D-Class near enough. And yeah, that's the stats. Now the speed, handling, acceleration aren't all that bad, to be honest, given everything that's got going against it, but the launch isn't particularly good because of this 3-speed auto, and the braking is pretty awful as well, because not only are you having to deal with 60s, you know, American braking technology, but you're also dealing with nearly 5,000 pounds in weight. So yeah, it's by no means a car that stops on a dime by any means, but you know, as long as you're doing your normal speed limit, you should be fine. But anything above that, and probably be a bit on the hairy side. But nonetheless, let's get it round this track. But firstly, we'll hear what the car sounds like, and then we'll talk about it some more. So yeah, this is probably one of the quietest V8 engines that we've got on the game from the 60s, purely because it's such a low revving engine. It's more like a diesel in terms of its rev limit of around 4,500 RPM. But still, that means it, you know, leans into the whole aspect of this being luxurious and comfortable, and you know, such a good long distance cruiser. So you can, yeah, really see this being something that you could eat miles up in. Obviously, you won't go very far in a single tank, given the massive size of the engine, but still. Gas back in the 60s was cheap, so who cares really in that regard. Acceleration wise, it's as you'd expect. It's not particularly great. 0 to 60 in 11.2 seconds, 0 to 125.7 seconds, but it does have a reasonable top speed of 142 miles an hour, which is certainly better than some muscle cars from the 60s were. So yeah, by no means bad in that regard, but yeah, the braking and the acceleration are definitely the weak points of this car. But again, like with the Belvedere, I just don't care. I just really do not. It's more about the experience of driving something like this than, you know, the numbers or, you know, the end result. And yeah, it's just really, really nice to drive. And yeah, like I said, it's been such a long time since we've had this car that to finally have it, even in a game that is no doubt on its last few months of being, you know, getting updates and whatnot, is still really, really good, and it does give me hope that maybe we'll get it in future games. But even if we don't, the fact that we've at least got it on a current gen console game is still really great, and I highly recommend getting it if you can. But still, yeah, I'm a big fan of big classic American cars. We don't quite, frankly, have enough of them. I still wish the Cadillac Eldorado would make a return, as I really like that. And to be honest, other classic American cars that we've never had before would also be a welcome addition to the game. But just with this current series on the festival playlist, we've had that Belvedere, which is a great car, and yeah, this is another one of those. And quite frankly, this and the Belvedere are probably two of my favourite cars to be on the festival playlist. So yeah, really glad this is on the game. Hopefully we'll get more out of that August play seat car pack from Forza Motorsport 4, because there are a few more on there that we've not had for a while. Chief among which is the Aston Martin DB7 Zagato. Don't think we've had that for a while. But yeah, still, great car. Icon of the 60s for many different reasons, but styling is the main one. And yeah, highly recommend getting it if you're into your American classics, especially from the 60s. So you can get this by getting 40 points in the festival playlist, which is obviously quite a lot more than the 20 points, which typically don't take that long, but to get 40 is a little bit more of a chore. But if you're into this car, or you've wanted to try this car ever since Forza Motorsport 4, then yeah, it's well worth the effort. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.